Hey, what's going on, Poke fans? Welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. In today's video, we'll be looking at one very interesting deck list, and this is a Zacian deck list featuring ADP, and this is the deck from Sunday Open Tournament. The player who actually played this deck was a Pumpkin 589, so shout out to him. And I actually saw this deck list, decided to test it out and see how it works, and it actually works pretty damn well. The biggest problem, of course, with ADP Zacian is if you can set up turn 1 Alterate Creation GX, so you can hit turn 2 for like 180 and power up your Zacian, and potentially even boss order somehow your opponent Dean or something else for 2 or 3 price cards. Strategy of this deck, of course, is to power up ADP, use that GX attack, and simply knock 2 GX Pokemons or 3 non-GX Pokemons in order to basically win a game. Or in combination, maybe 1 tag team and 1 non-GX Pokemon. So, this deck contains 1 Hoopa with Evil Domination ability that can actually help us to counter Dragapult much more easier. Also, damage can be increased for 30 more, which is kind of important, especially for that Evil Domination. 2 ADPs, of course, 1 Eldegoss, then 1 Dedenne, 3 copies of Stellar Wish Jirachi, and 3 Zacian Whis for that Intrepid Sword and Brave Blade, and of course 1 Bench Barrier Mew that can prevent the bench from extra damage from Picozecro. Unfortunately, with Mew you cannot block the damage from your opponent Dragapult VMAX. Additionally, this deck have also 2 copies of Acrobike, 4 copies of Crushing Hammer, so you can slow your opponent as well, 2 copies of Energy Spinner, 3 copies of Energy Switch, 1 Friend Ball featuring 4 copies of Quick Ball. Friend Ball is a very good card because it says that you can search your deck for a same type as one of your opponent's Pokemon play real and put in your hand. So technically speaking, if your opponent have Jirachi, you can search your deck for either way for Jirachi or Zacian and put it in your hand, which is really good without discarding anything. 1 copy of Great Catcher, 4 Metal Saucers, 4 Quick Ball, 4 copies of Switch, of course, 2 copies of Shrine of Punishment for extra damage between turns and for extra pressure against GX decks. Also very good against Mew versus Mew, so you can hit for 270, much more easier with that Brave Blade. 2 copies of Boss Order, 2 copies of Marnie, and then 4 copies of Research, of course, with 2 Escape Boards, and then with 9 Metal and 2 Water Energy cards. So yeah, my friends, this is the deck list that I will use in today's video, so please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the likes up, and also let me know in the comments below what you think about this deck list. So let's see how this deck will work in action, so see you in the game. Alright, so waiting my opponent for that coin flip, so we can decide who's gonna start first. And looks like that my opponent decided to go first. Of course, playing ADP, it's always better to go first, just because you can play Intrepid Sword, and you can also technically have better position for setup as well. So on the other side is some kind of a Weaker Wall deck. And my opponent used Stellar Wish, and there is a skateboard. I have Research, which means that I will probably first try to use Acrobike. Hopefully I can maybe get some kind of, let's say maybe even Jirachi wouldn't be that bad here, but ADP wouldn't be bad as well. Just because I can then go with Energy Spinner into Water Energy, attach Energy to ADP, use Switch so I can put it in the front, and of course try to search my deck for Energy Switch Metal Saucer combo, which is probably not going to be the hardest thing in the world. We managed to find Crushing Hammer as the top deck, and it is a heads. Alright. Let's go with Acrobike first. Well, there is Jirachi. I'm gonna try Energy Spinner because I'm starting second, and I will just do something like this. How many Quick Ball do I have? 4. Even Friend Ball works for me as well. I cannot risk discarding this Metal Energy, unfortunately. So let's see what I can find. Have to be kidding me. There is a Quick Ball. Well, I really didn't want to risk. Really didn't want to risk. Really didn't want to risk. I could. If I had 2 Water Energies, I would definitely take the risk. But I didn't have, so... looks like this is just gonna be a Quick Ball play into Daddy Change, and I'm gonna go all in here with the Din GX. Okay, it's actually not that bad, considering the fact that I can use 3 copies of Metal Saucer here, plus energy attachment onto my ADP. It's not the worst thing in the world. I really need to say that. I can take the knockout for sure, and if I take the knockout, I think this might be a huge plus for me, because my opponent don't have another Jirachi on the bench, plus he's also losing Jirachi with that escape board. And I managed to draw another Metal Energy. So many Metal Energies. Well, I could have... I wouldn't have anyways ADP, even if I decided to take that Water Energy anyways, because I didn't draw a Energy Switch after that. So it's not that bad. Next turn I cannot attack with my Brave Blade, which means that I will probably just try to... I can retreat for sure, and I'm not quite sure if that's gonna be the smartest thing in the world. Then again, I can attach energy, and I can maybe risk... I already used 3 Metal Saucers, so I'm just gonna Intrepid Sword for now. Well, there is another energy, there we go. Alright, so first thing that can happen, my opponent can potentially knock me out, and then I can have Metal Saucer for another Zacian Wii. And with another Zacian, I can just take another knockout, or I can just boss order something on the bench. There's the battery Cherry Bug that can be used for 2 lighting energy attachments. So far, looking good for my side of the field. My opponent is playing 1 prize deck so far until he puts Wickevolt in play. Well, there is a Wickevolt with Stealthy Body ability, which says that if there is any Stadium card in play, this Pokemon has no weakness. And Electric Cannon, 120. You might discard all lightning energies from this Pokemon, and this attack does 100 damage more, which is exactly enough for the knockout against ADP. And this is how, actually not against ADP, but against Zacian, and this is how this deck really works. Luckily, I have Boss Order sitting in my hand, which means that I can catch and knock out my opponent, Wickevolt, this turn. And so far, I'm doing a very good job. I'm doing a lot of good things, even without putting a single ADP in action so far. I mean, I didn't play my GX attack yet. And somehow I feel that this turn might not be the bad thing to consider using it. So I'm just gonna use a skateboard, retreat into my... First I can also use Friend Ball and grab myself another Jirachi. This is going to be a Alternate Creation GX, so I don't need to knock 4 more Pokemons from my opponents out of the field. I can just knock 2 of them and pretty much win the game. So there is a Wickevolt, but unfortunately for my opponent, this Wickevolt can hit only for 170, or maybe with Powerful Storm for 60 plus 20 more for each energy attached to all of my opponent Pokemons in play. And with this Cherry Bug, he can hit for like 100, but he will need more than that. Well, Electro Power can do the job. There is another Cherry Bug. Alright, let's see. Okay, second Cherry Bug. And a Twin Energy. And there is a Powerful Storm for 210 damage. Alright, 210, but my opponent decided to concede the game because I can take the knockout and then simply turn after that. Take another knockout for 2 more prize cards, which would be enough for the knockout, and that is a GG. And this is a look at my opponent. Wake Vault deck list. Really, really interesting deck list as well in the standard format. So let's move on to the game number 2. Alright, of course I want to start first, but not with 3 copies of Zacian in my opening hand. This is just a disaster. Alright, and the top deck just a research. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna go with Energy Attachment to my activation and with 1 Intrepid Sword, and there's not gonna be a single energy card because if my opponent evolves into Luxio and if he just hits me with item lock. Alright, so it's not. Once during a turn, if you draw this Pokemon from your deck at the beginning of your turn and your bench isn't full before you put it on your in your hand, you might put it on your bench. So top entry Luxio, and that's the quick ball for a Jirachi. As long as my opponent don't item lock me, I'm happy. I really need to say that. So there is a skateboard for that Jirachi, and will he have something else in addition to that? Cynthia. Alright. Energy Attachment, Communication for another Luxio. Into a Ranguru. Alright. What can I do? I can try play Crushing Hammer. I'm probably gonna Quick Ball into ADP. That's what I'm gonna do for sure. No question about that move. And then I will switch into ADP, Energy Switch, Crushing Hammer, Research for 7. And so on and so on. Alright, let's try to do this. So, ADP, and how many energies do I have? Only 1 water. That's okay. I do have 2 energy spinners. So, Crushing Hammer. Will there be a heads? It will. Energy switch to my ADP. Switch onto my ADP as well, and then 1 research for 7. So we are searching for a water energy, and so far I can't get one. Nope, looks like I'm gonna miss it. Well, well, well. And somehow my opponent managed to survive. Aha, the next card was a energy spinner, so unlucky. Alright. So I couldn't hit my alternate creation GX at my turn 1. Actually at my turn 2. Actually at my turn 1. Or it was my turn 2. Kind of confused, but never mind. Turn 1, turn 2, who cares? I just missed my alternate creation at my turn 2 because I have energy attached on my Zacian, so it was a turn 2. Alright, so there is a Stellar Wish into another Cynthia, but he used Research and a Quick Ball. Might be for another Shinx, we shall see. For me is the most important thing to get that water energy in place so I can use GX, and then I can try to start one-hit knocking out my opponent Pokemon. It's interesting to see that Shinx have resistance -20, but Luxio doesn't have. resistance. So that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. He just passes the turn. And there's nothing to be discarded, so let's just go with that energy spinner. And I have so many cards in my hand, but I'm just gonna play Marnie. I don't need any of them at this moment. I need some energy acceleration if it's possible to get in play. But looks like that for now that is just not gonna be the case. But I really wanna power up, if it's possible, my Zacian on the bench. Potentially even find a switch. We are not gonna need Mew, that's for sure. And I attached energy, so I'm good to go with my alternate creation GX. There we go. Alright, so finally there is a Luxray which says, if this Pokemon evolves from Luxio during this turn, this attack does 100 more damage, which means that my opponent can hit for like 160 as a base damage, but who knows, he might even add a little bit more of damage with some kind of electro power adjustment. Primate Wisdom. And Raid for 160. Okay, with that being said, I can Metal Saucer. And I can switch into Jirachi for that Stellar Wish, into my Quick Ball, Boss Order. Let me see. Into Quick Ball, I'm gonna go with the Eldegoss. I'm gonna go with a Eldegoss. And I will try to get more cards in my hand with this research, maybe even a couple more Metal Saucers as well. And the only question remains right now, do I want to attack with my Zacian or with my ADP? Huh, that is an interesting question. And I think it's just pretty much fine to use Ultimate Ray for 2-price knockout. Even if my opponent knocks me out down to like 3-price cards, he goes, and I knock him back, I go down to 2-price cards, and if he knocks me down, he goes down to like 1 price, but I have basically another Zacian for the game, so it really doesn't matter which way I decide to go. It's pretty much the same. So if he can knock me out this turn, which I suppose he can. Oh, he should first go with the Stellar Wish, then with the Ordinary Road. That was kind of a mistake, because you have much greater chance to hit something with 4 cards less in your deck. Speaking about supporter card, of course. But he managed to find himself Cynthia anyways. And that's another Cynthia play. Alright, and there's even a Speed Lightning Energy, and I'm wondering if he plays... Oh, Power Plant. Alright, but luckily I don't need Power Plant anymore. Actually, luckily I don't need abilities on my Dedenne anymore anyways. Okay, so he can raid for the knockout, and then I can simply promote Zacian way in the front. Knock his Luxray back, additionally use Metal Saucer, and I can try to close the game with the Research for 7, just in case if he decides to Marty me, or maybe even worse, stamp me down to 2 cards, so I can be 100% positive that I will have pretty much everything that I need, basically. So, Metal Saucer. There it is. Energy on Eldegoss. Research for 7. Alright. Friend Ball. Crushing Hammer and Switch. So let's just go with Retreat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in my hand. I'm gonna Energy Spinner, and then I'm gonna Brave Blade for that knockout and for 2 more prize cards. So I have 2 cards remaining in my hand, in my deck, sorry. I didn't want to go with Hoopa on the bench just in case if my opponent somehow catches him in the front, so I might just lose ability to retreat. There is another Luxray. So can my opponent find himself 3 copies of Electro Power so he can increase the damage to... Actually, he needs 2 more Electro Powers in order to knock me out. So if he can find 2 more Electro Powers, theoretically he can have knockout against my Zacian, or he can simply use Boss Order and catch my Dedenne on the bench and knock him out, and goes down to 1 prize card, but he decided just to go for activation. Well played, because we do have switch, and the only thing that we need to do is just to switch and use Brave Blade with another Zacian, and that is a GG. That is a GG. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. As always, let me know in the comments below what you think about this deck list, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you for your time, thank you for watching, we'll see you next time.